Let's be honest. Would you still write your book if you knew for a fact it would never get published? Your answer might tell you everything about why you're writing in the first place. Let's get into it. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel, The Writing Desk Diaries. I'm Danny, the person behind D. Lavelle Books, and I'm so glad you decided to join me today. Today's writerly thought is based on this question. Would you still write this if it never got published? Here's why I think this question matters. Mind you, these are just my unsolicited opinions. For traditionally published authors, this question might hit one way, but for indie authors like myself, where publication is technically always an option, it hits in a different way. And what I mean by that is when you self-publish, the barrier to getting your work out there in the world is low, which means the real question becomes, why are you writing it in the first place? Are you writing it because the story needs to exist, or are you writing it because you need the story to be received by someone else? Those are two very different motivations, and neither one is wrong, but you need to know which one is driving you specifically, because it affects everything, like how you write, how you feel when it gets hard, and how you handle the silence after you release it, especially when the silence is loud. So my answer to this question is yes. I would still write my stories because they come from a very deep place inside me, from my dreams to my experiences, basically the things I needed to process, preserve, or sometimes say out loud through fiction. They exist because I needed them to exist. The publishing part is secondary to all of that other stuff. Have I written things chasing a market or a trend? Have I tried writing the book I thought people wanted instead of the one I actually needed to tell? And the honest answer is not consciously, right? Like, I'm someone who has various themes show up across my works. So some are more commercial than others, and some can sometimes be cinematic in places. I'm not doing that intentionally for it to hit the market, but sometimes I do have that in mind, which is why I do my market research. I'm genuinely curious about how my work stacks up against traditionally published authors. And maybe I do that to validate my own work. Like, how would this show up, right? If it was traditionally published. But at the end of the day, I'm here to tell stories that others can relate to or see themselves in. It's a ministry for me. And that's more important to me than chasing a trend or commercial viability. I also feel like seeking validation can sometimes feel like a trap. And here's where I want to be really careful, because I don't want to romanticize this into write for yourself and forget about everything else or everyone, because that's not realistic advice for someone trying to build a writing career. Wanting your work to reach people isn't vanity. Wanting it to be read and validated isn't shallow. That's a completely human desire. You made something and you wanted to connect with your target readers. That's the whole point of storytelling. The trap isn't wanting validation through publication. The trap is when publication becomes the only reason why you write, and the fear of not getting it stops you from writing entirely. And when you really break this question down, I think it's asking, do you trust your own story enough to write it without permission, without an agent saying yes to you, or an algorithm rewarding you, or some arbitrary sales rank to point to? Because the truth is, every book starts in the exact same place. Unpolished, uncertain, sometimes unrealized. Just you and a blank page and the story that hasn't proven itself to anyone yet. The writers who finish are the ones who decided their story was worth it before anyone else ever did. Now, I'm going to ask you this question again. Would you still write your current project if you knew it would never get published? Drop your honest answer in the comments. Over here, we listen and we don't judge. And as always, thank you for being here. I hope you'll stick around so we can learn and grow together. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, happy creating.